Hey guys, Magikarp here. In this video, I will teach you the exact science of gearing units in one of my favorite games of all time, Epic 7. This video will focus on my overall philosophy of gearing units rather than how I would gear specific units. If you want to compete at the highest level consistently for all content, then all you have to do is follow these three simple rules. Rule number 1. The 5, sometimes 6 stat rule. When building any unit, you shouldn't focus on more than 5 stats unless it's absolutely necessary to have a 6 stat, and if so, never more than 6. So this rule helps you maximize the strength of your unit rather than trying to be the jack of all trades and master of none. By focusing on only 5, your units will have so much of those 5 stats, they're able to compete at a very high level. Here's an example of a unit built using the 5 stat rule. When building Researcher Carrot, by focusing on only attack percent, defense percent, health percent, speed, and effectiveness, we're able to make her tanky enough to withstand a few hits, while focusing on doing damage only through burns, and completely neglecting any crit chance and crit damage. Here's an example of a unit built using the 6 stat rule. When building Landy and focusing on attack percent, defense percent, health percent, speed, critical chance, critical damage, it was really tough to make her tanky enough to withstand a few hits while also being a real threat. Stat greedy bruisers like Landy are the only type of units that it's okay to pursue a 6 stat when building, because they absolutely require it. And as you can see, she's so stat greedy that for me to reach the benchmarks I wanted, even in full epic 90 gear with above average rolls, I had to give up on the immunity set and settle for a crit set. Rule number 2. Always know your stat benchmarks before you build your units. This rule is all about preparation. Knowing how much you need of each stat will help you decide what sets you should use and which main stat goes on your neck, ring, and boots. For example, before I start building Researcher Carrot, and once I've decided on the 5 stats I want, I should try and figure out how much I want of each stat. Good endgame benchmarks to aim for when building Carrot are around 1400 defense, at least 13k health, around 220 speed, around 85% effectiveness, and at least 4000 attack. She also requires an immunity set. These benchmarks are usually dependent on a unit's base stats, plus any extremely common matchups they might run into. So definitely do lots of research before completely deciding on it. Rule number 3. Always be efficient at gaining stats. This one is a no-brainer. Being efficient lets you have a bit more stats and really makes your units stand out from your opponents, or at least be on par with them. I found that to be efficient in a game like E7, you have to separate the must-dos from the should-dos when building your units. Let's use Researcher Carrot for example once again. So, to be able to efficiently reach the benchmarks we decided on in rule number 2 for Carrot, we must use a speed set and speed boots, since reaching 220 speed without either one of those is very wasteful. We also have to wear an immunity set, since there isn't another way of gaining immunity at the start of battle on our own. So, those would be the must-dos. The should-dos, however, is something like using attack percent ring and attack percent necklace. Although, we could potentially reach 4000 attack with only one of those being attack percent, it's just a lot easier doing so with both being attack percent. So, to summarize, we choose 5 stats, we choose benchmarks to those 5 stats, and we just figure out the most efficient way to gain them. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.